Duncan Williams worked for a while on the News of the World, but now he publishes several of his own newspapers and magazines, some of them with a distinctly Christian ethos. He joined Sarah Major on BBC Sheffield.
I think it's actually quite sad on one level. However, it's a very positive thing to be looking at the ethics of tabloid journalism. It seems that there have been actions taking place that are quite frankly outrageous.
Is closing a paper like this the answer, or will this kind of journalism just go on elsewhere?
Well, you only have to look at the cover of the Sunday Mirror, the News of the World's main rival, and the cover story is about Cheryl Cole, and it's the same fare that fundamentally would have appeared in the News of the World, and also the Sunday Star on Sunday. So it's not going to radically change what is an extremely popular genre. We are well aware that the News of the World is in fact the most popular English language newspaper in the world. So it's hypocritical to suddenly say, oh goodness, I hated the News of the World, when so obviously many people were reading and buying it.
Indeed, I mean, lots of people were reading and buying it, but the fact is that it was the News of the World that was involved in this phone hacking scandal. And I mean, Carol Malone, one of the paper's own columnists, writing today, is saying that she can't begin to imagine what the past week has been like for the families of Millie Dowler, Holly Wells, Jessica Chapman, those of the war dead. I mean, a lot of people's lives have been affected by this, haven't they?
Absolutely, and I quite agree that the revelations that have come to light in the past few days expose serious wrongdoing and shameful wrongdoing. I haven't worked for the News of the World for coming on since 2003, and I was a freelancer. So there are a lot of buffers, as we can see, that Murdoch's newspaper had in place between permanent staff, the executive and management. So that in the event of the balloon going up, which it most certainly has, everybody's saying, oh, I had no knowledge of this going on. I was one of those freelancers.
Tell me about, I mean, you've got an interesting standpoint on this because you're also a Christian, aren't you?
I am and was during that period, yes.
And how do you kind of reconcile some of the things that tabloid papers do with your faith? Because you're a journalist, you know what life's like out there. I mean, you know, people do what they have to do sometimes to get a story. Whether, you know, I'm not saying it's right, but it happens. I mean, is that hard for you as a man of faith?
Well, I think that the freedom of the press in Britain is a wonderful thing, and there are many instances of wrongdoing that would not have been exposed if it were not for the press. So the politicians and the expenses scandal was exposed by the Telegraph. The corruption in cricket was exposed by the News of the World. It would be an awful thing that as a result of this there were censorship clamps placed to prevent freedom of the press. Freedom of speech is a fundamental, that's a very Christian must. I mean, we believe in people having the right to speak their truth without censorship.